You're a head coach now. What's the biggest change in training camp, running things as the head man?
Not getting too high when one side of the ball does well and the other side doesn't. You know,
Okay.
Usually I'm a defensive coach. When they do well, I'll be like, in the past, they killed our offense, I'll be happy. But now it's like, we did a good job there, we stink over here, or vice versa when the offense does well. Because the defense will call me a traitor, then the offense will say I'm always a defensive guy, so I got to kind of stay even keeled.
One of the things, Coach, that everybody's been saying about with you is that they've lamented stuff from the past in terms of having a head coach that primarily focused on defense. You're a defensive coordinator. One of the hesitations prior to your hire was folks didn't want a defensive mind coming into the New York Jets because they felt that obviously the team needed to focus on offense. How much were you mindful of that whole belief system, or that what people were saying about the New York Jets? Because since you've taken over as head coach in conjunction with McCagnon, obviously y'all have zeroed in and focused a lot on the offense as well as the defense.
You don't pay it too much mind. You try to be yourself. You know, if you look at history, most of the Super Bowl coaches primarily are defensive coaches. Carroll and Belichick from last year, and you can go on with Parcells and Dungy and Tomlin, and there's Paytons and Holmgrens and Shanahans mixed in, but a lot of the coaches that win the Super Bowl are defensive coaches. So you just got to understand the coach. It's easier to be an offensive head coach and offensive coordinator because you call the plays, and most of the things that happen on the field game time are offensively. You worried about the clock, you worry about the timeouts, you worry about those type of things, and defensively, calling the plays, you get locked in, you can lose thought to the other side. So I'm trying to be well-rounded.
Coach, we were going back and forth to start this show about Jets' chances this year, and I said, well, there's one big X factor that I don't know, and that's you. Love what I've seen so far, love your background and your pedigree and all the coaches you came up under, but I've been covering this league for a long time, and you see some guys who are born to be coordinators and not head coaches. So Molly asked you that opening question. What, in your career, what's been the key transition point for a guy to become a successful head coach?
Well, the key is just to be yourself. They teach you a lot of football from your predecessors, but you can't be like them. That doesn't mean you're going to be successful, but that means you're going to live or die doing it your own way. And so I've been told that from Arians, from Parcells, from Gibbs, and so forth. So I'm just going to try to be myself and do the things that they taught me to do and I know how to do, but do it in my own way.
You have named Geno the starter. Is that in ink or in pencil so far?
Ink can be crossed out and pencil can be erased, so it's a matter of what you want to say. And that's not just Geno, that's every position. You know, when you're a starter, when you're first team, somebody has to take your spot, regardless of whether it's quarterback, center, guard, running back, or whatever the case may be. If you don't do enough to take the guy's spot, you're second team. So that's where it is. The focus goes there, but that's at every position.
You look at a guy like Geno, and I think what resonates with me, Coach, is that sometimes when a new coach, new organization comes into play, if it's not your guy that you pick, everybody's like, well, you're not beholden to him. But then when they're drafted high, whether it's the first or second round, there's this belief that to some degree you may be beholden to him. Where does Todd Bowles lie when it comes to that mode of thinking?
I lie looking at players. I expect to see growth in first, second, third year players, and hopefully you see that kind of growth and you exhaust every possibility trying to see that growth. But if they don't have it, they don't have it. And if they don't have it, they get sat down.